camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Hey guys, I am so excited because I have a new camera that I'm going to be using for video stuff, courtesy of Vegan Travel. Vegan Travel is sponsoring a portion of my upcoming travels. I'm headed to other parts of the world starting next week. I'll tell you more about that later. I'm still getting used to how to use the Canon G7X, and I hope that it increases the quality of the videos and makes following along and watching adventures even more enjoyable. I am headed to the post office. There seems to be a little bit of confusion about the timeline of my travels and will travel for vegan food, so I thought that I would address that now. Okay, so from October of 2011 through August of 2013, I was living in a van. I had quit my job, I got rid of almost everything I owned, and I moved into the van with the intention of trying to eat at every single vegan restaurant in the United States. Mission accomplished, and in August of 2013, I held a end of road trip party to celebrate the fact that I had completed my mission, and I also used that as an opportunity to raise some money for Woodstock Farm Animal Sanctuary. I didn't have a solid plan after the road trip ended. All that I knew is that I wanted to remain nomadic for the most part. I had totally fallen in love with the nomadic lifestyle. So I started reaching out to some local businesses, vegan businesses in the Chicago area, and worked out a deal with one of them to do some trade where they would put me up for housing in exchange for helping them with marketing and promotional stuff. So good. For the following 3 months, starting in September of 2013, I moved to Chicago and I did the housing for marketing trade. Now, by the time that ended, I wasn't ready to leave Chicago. I decided to look for temporary housing and to continue building my passive income products. I ended up spending another, I think, 3 or 4 months in Chicago building my Creating Freedom and Mastery online marketing and business management course. I launched it that winter of 2014. Also, at the time that I was working on the passive income projects, the marketing course, and spending more time in Chicago, I was also starting to write my book, my first ever book, a memoir about the road trip. Much in the way that the project itself came to me, Will Travel for Vegan Food, kind of randomly appeared before my consciousness, so too did tropical weather and palm trees, and I kept seeing these things. I guess no surprise though, since I was in a snowy winter in Chicago. I reached out to my friend Zoe, who had just bought a house on the big island of Hawaii. Next thing I knew, I was getting ready to go to Hawaii. Now, before that happened, I had yet to visit 2 states in the country, because during my road trip I made it through 48 states. The 2 that I did not get to were Alaska and North Dakota. So on my way to Hawaii, I went and spent a few weeks in Fargo, North Dakota, which was fantastic, and then I went to Alaska with my friend Chris. We explored and camped out and drove around the state for about a week or so, and then from there I went to Hawaii, and I spent the rest of 2014 living on the big island of Hawaii in Pahoa. It was there that I got the majority of my book written and completed and sent to the publisher for review. Then in December of 2014, I headed back to the mainland. I flew into Northern California and met up with my friend Kaylee. She put me up in Nevada City, California, where I spent 24 hours working with a couple of videographers to film the trailer for the book. After filming the book trailer, I headed to upstate New York to visit my family for a few weeks, and then had not gotten enough of Chicago, so I looked again for sublet temporary housing in Chicago and landed a really great place in Wicker Park, and I stayed there from January through April. Then at the end of April of 2015, my memoir was officially launched. After the memoir came out in April, it was time to promote. So I pretty much spent the rest of 2015 city hopping on book tour. Closing out my presentation at the Boston Veg Food Fest. Woo! And then as the book tour came to a close, I was once again wondering where I would spend my winter. I decided to look on a website called housecarers.com, and I found this awesome little bungalow in Aztec, New Mexico. I spent the winter of 2015 and into 2016 in New Mexico. While in New Mexico, I continued to refine and work on my passive income projects and freelance work. And I also learned about vegantravel.com, a relatively new website that was hosting an around the world contest. The contest rules had to do with submitting a vegan tour video of a city. I ended up flying to Portland, Oregon to meet with my friend Mandy. She and I entered the contest together. I also started doing a few more book toury things. I went to a couple of cities that I didn't get to on my initial book tour. I went to a few veg fests to give some presentations. And then about April of this year, I learned that Mandy and I have come in second place in the Around the World contest, which means that Vegan Travel is sending us on a 3-month-long around the world trip, or really wherever we want to go, and it includes a monthly stipend. So after April, I decided to, my house sitting gig was over and I was wrapping up some book tour stuff. I decided to head to upstate New York, here where I am right now, to visit with my family before getting ready for the trip. I am leaving on the 21st of June for Istanbul, Turkey. Mandy isn't able to join me for the first couple months of the trip, but she will likely be joining me toward the end of it. Be in Istanbul, Turkey for a week, Greece for a week, Berlin for 6 weeks because it's Berlin, and then if all goes according to plan, I'll be making quick stops in London, Brighton, and Amsterdam on my way to Dublin. When I get to Ireland, I'm going to be attending the Cloud9 conference, which is the first of its kind in Ireland. It's an unconventional lifestyle conference kind of a thing. On September 11th, I'm headed to Dublin, where they're having their second Veg Fest. I'm going to be giving a presentation there. If everything is still running as smoothly as I'm hoping it will, I will then head to Australia, possibly New Zealand first. I'm in talks with one of the organizers of the very first Veg Fest called Vegan Vibes, happening in New Zealand, and then I am going to be speaking at the Cruelty Free conference in Sydney, also talking to the organizers of the Melbourne Veg Fest to see about possibly participating in that one. That'll take me through the end of October. From there, I will head to Thailand and meet up with Mandy, and she will and I will explore Southeast Asia. It's happening, you guys. I've been saying for a long time that I've wanted to take this project internationally. Now that the book writing, book launch, book tour stuff has largely passed, I'm going to continue to travel for vegan food. Huge thank you to Vegan Travel for selecting Mandy and I, and for everyone out there who voted to help us win a portion of this contest to begin these international travels. I mean, it's really quite amazing. Speaking of vegan travel and food, I was at the Portland Beer Fest last weekend. Check it out. I arrived on the Thursday before Beer Fest, and then on Friday I met up with Alan and Jacqueline from Vegan Travel, as well as Liz and Tag, who won the contest that I did to give away a weekend getaway to Portland for Beer Fest. Mandy also joined us for dinner at Farm Spirit on Friday night. It was absolutely fantastic. I had some of the most amazing food that I've ever had in a really long time. Next day was Beer Fest. We got there around 10:30 and it was an all-day event. I just arrived at the Portland Vegan Beer Festival. We're not even 5 minutes in. There's already a line for the Herbivorous Butcher back there. I am prioritizing this place. I haven't had any of their stuff since they've opened. I'm super jazzed. Got my little tasting glass here. Let's go.
Several hundred times today. We have so many.
After the beer fest, a few of us went to Ebb and Bean, which is an ice cream place in Portland. It's not completely vegan, but they do have some great vegan options, including chocolate and peanut butter hard shell covering stuff. Remember that stuff? Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. So that takes us to today. That was the timeline of the last nearly 5 years, the very short version, the quick version. Oh, and if you're ever in upstate New York, in the Albany, Troy, Capital Region area, there is a brand new, completely vegan restaurant. It's the only all vegan restaurant here. It's called Bourbon and Wolves, and I've had a lot of meals there, but I finally took the new Canon G7X out for a trial run. Going forward, video stuff the next couple of weeks might be a little wonky because I don't know yet what to expect for my Wi-Fi connection and all of that. I really want to make this channel and any content that I provide to really have more value than just, hey, here's where I am, what I'm doing. Well, I think that's fun too. That's why I'm hoping to split up the time going forward to do one vlog a week that shows you kind of from my point of view where I am, what I'm eating, who I'm eating, what I'm doing, and then one video a week where it's more like packing tips and tricks, preparing for long haul flights, and what to pack for food as a vegan traveler, and like all things like that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to eat well and travel often.